Hey, dear ones, I am super excited for today's episode. I speak with Meike Heitmann about why she decided to join Soul Blueprint. And the fall 25 cohort is coming up. Enrollment is open now. And I had an amazing conversation with Meike that organically shifted into EFT, or emotional freedom techniques. And Meike tells you all about what EFT is in our chat, which I'll get to in just a second. But before I share it, I just want to say the feedback I got from Meike after our conversation, which she does bring up in the chat, and it's something that I get often from my clients, is that when they are in my presence, they elevate. And I think it's part of the reason, I had a near-death experience in 2009, and during that experience, I got a transmission from the divine, from source. And that transition elevated my energy to higher frequencies. And I asked source during my NDE, well, why don't you just do this to everybody? Find a way, source, to give all people on earth, or at least especially those who are awake and on a spiritual path, this level of transition. And source said that it doesn't work that way. And the way it works is that everybody has a big soul mission. And this was just part of my soul mission, to receive this transmission and to pass it on to others. And so I become a beacon, if you will, transmitting sources, higher frequencies and elevations to you when you are in my presence. And if you and I are an energetic match, because not everybody's going to receive this from me, only those with whom we are an energetic match, and you are meant to receive it from me. So Meike and I are definitely an energetic match. I'm so thrilled she's joining Soul Blueprint. And when she was talking to me, it just flowed. Everything about EFT, everything about what she does just flowed out of her in a beautiful flow alignment. Whilst before the call, she said, I don't know, I've never talked about my work like this on a podcast. I feel hesitant. This is taking me out of my comfort zone. But once we hit record and just started talking, it was just ease and flow. And Meike in her brilliance, in her genius. And so I'm really excited to share with you our conversation. Let's get to it. In today's episode, I chat with Meike about why she joined the latest cohort of Soul Blueprint, how EFT is one of the most accessible healing modalities, and how being in the presence of the right mentor can automatically and organically take your abilities to the next level. We'll end on an invitation that will have you saying yes to the right mentor and finding new and expanded ways to heal your energy. So please stay with me until the end. Hey, we're creating a global community of soul-guided leaders, coaches, healers, and entrepreneurs called the Soul Guide Circle. In the Soul Guide Circle, we're inviting in our spiritual gifts to get our clients even more results and transformation to create big referral buzz. Find a link to join our closed Facebook group at AllisonScammell.com or in the show notes. Today, I talked to Meike Heitmann about all sorts of things. We have a deep exploration into EFT. It is a healing modality that was my very first healing modality that I ever learned, and I use it all the time, and I've gotten away from talking about it in my work. But Meike, using her spiritual gift of leadership and teaching, has inspired me and activated me to incorporate it back into my content, in with my clients, in with the work I do, because it is indeed such a powerful modality. I am so excited to share with you our conversation about Soul Blueprint, EFT, finding the right mentor. Meike, I'm so happy that you are chatting with me on Soul Guide Radio.
Hi, Alison. Thanks for having me. I'm really honored. I'm
Oh,
really
well,
excited.
me too. And I'm most excited that you are joining the fall cohort of Soul Blueprint. And I wanted to just bring you on to chat about what inspired you to join. And in case there are other listeners out there that are like, I don't know if this is for me, I'm feeling a heart nudge toward it, but I'm not sure. And I would love to start with how you responded when I first asked you. And was kind of a little bit, it shook some things up for you. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Well, I was working with your work basically. I started with your morning meditation and I bought the evening meditation. So I did that for I think a couple of weeks and then I got into your work and then I booked the discovery call basically. And that really blew my mind because it was just, I mean, within these 20 minutes, it was so energetically loaded. And I felt such a connection to you. So this was the start because there are so many programs out. And once you're like in one of the mailing lists, you get another one and the other, I listened to a lot of classes in the last years. I think ever since the pandemic, it popped up all in there, I think. So, and I had been tempted sometimes, but in a way, I'm a person who think, well, I do EFT and I've got all this quite a big toolbox by now. And I always thought I can figure it out on my own from now on. I can do that. I want to open my EFT practice, and I've got a really good book as well, which is very helpful. But yeah, after your session, and after listening to a couple of other workshop of yours, I just realized, and you said it, you need help. You go to mentors by yourself. And it's just so much easier to do that if you have got someone. And it just, everything just really spoke to me. So when you asked me, I was like, of course, hesitant because it's a lot of money. But then I just slept over it and it just felt so right. And I'm so happy and excited to do it and looking so much forward to it because it just felt so right to say, well, this is the person I need. She speaks my language. She is helping me with every bit I'm not getting together right now.
That's so beautiful. I just want to take a moment to receive that because I just really appreciate everything. Sorry, I told Mike I was losing my voice earlier. I just want to receive that because I'm so grateful to receive this feedback. And it's interesting. We were talking before we hit record about languages and English and German. And you are from Germany, but spent some time in the UK. You speak perfect English. And you had mentioned that I speak your language. And one of the things I really try to do, because I see myself as such a citizen of the world and I've lived all over the place and I love that. I love the lifestyle I've chosen. It can get lonely and you can feel like, oh, I'm constantly rebuilding friend groups. So it's not like it's easy, but I love it and I thrive in it. And so I think it's taught me how to speak a language that it's English, but it's an English that lots of different people can access. And I really try to call in people from all over the world. So we were kind of talking about that, how finding people who just speak your language and beyond just the like practicality of the English language or the German language, but how do you relate to that? I'm just curious.
Oh, I actually meant like the spiritual language. It's just
Yes,
like,
yes, yes, that's
exactly.
yes.
It's just, well, I'm on my path for quite a long time. And I don't know, it's quite a while ago. It was called Aura training. It was over a year, 5 weekends. So I started doing this energy work and I started all with Reiki, of course. And what, not of course, but I think this is so many people got into the energy work via Reiki and then they just discovered there's more. And so ever since, and my EFT training, my trainer or teacher, she's the same. She's not evidence proving it. She just said it's all energy and it all comes from there. So it's everything I've ever learned about, souls and former lives and everything. It just comes more and more together, and everything you just say, it just so it rings within me. I don't know how really to explain it, and it's as the words are in me already, and yet you just speak them. You tell me what to do and what to do with all what's within me. And that's just such a nice feeling. And I think, I mean, as I said, I listen most of the to American programs, because once you, I said that before, once you're in the email list, you get more and more of the programs. And I think that's one point why I hesitate sometimes and never chose another program, because it's still American, and there are difference to the European way of thinking. And I think this is what's your big advantage as well. You just really have a wider view of the world, and so this makes a big difference for me as well, I think, beside all the personal connection.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I love that. It's that spiritual language. Such a great way to say it. And I have to say, like Mike and I, when we first started chatting, we realized that we had so much in common. And I love that you're an EFT practitioner. My first energy modality that I learned was EFT. I love it so much. I would love to just spend a moment talking about EFT. I haven't done an EFT episode in a super long time. So can you tell our listeners who aren't sure what it is, what is EFT?
Well, EFT is a combination of psychological work and traditional Chinese energy work. It's acupressure. You tap on certain meridian endpoints to combine these two methods, basically, and to tap basically into the energy of your system. And I really love it because I'm a very, yeah, I like to speak and I like to think, and I like to think psychological, but I do think it's not, you definitely need to get the energy of your system on board, because that's why therapy very often not works properly, talk therapy, because it's just all goes over your head, and you can't solve problems with your head only. You just really need to get into the energy. And I do it for a long time now for myself, and I just really love it because, I mean, there is a evidence that cortisol get lowered when you tap. And I think this is to start. You just relax while you do it, and then you really tap into your subconsciousness, and then I always felt like I'm in a really safe space when I do it, to go into my subconsciousness and discover what's coming up, what's there, what needs to be healed, what needs to be noticed, and it all comes in a way you can handle it. And I really love the combination, and you get really great results doing it. That's my
Ah,
experience.
what a beautiful explanation. I just couldn't agree more. I had my teacher would call it, you could tearless trauma. Like
Yeah.
EFT is a modality where it is possible to really release a trauma without the tears. And sometimes tears are necessary, but sometimes you do need a gentle approach to allow it to just pass through you. And I feel like that is EFT. And it's so accessible. Sometimes, for example, I have had past lifetimes where I have died in
Mhm.
aircraft crashes, more than one. And so I have done a lot of healing on that, but I will still get triggered when I'm in a plane, and I do travel a lot. And there's like moderate turbulence. Usually, if it's light turbulence, I'm fine. Takeoff, landing, I'm fine. But if it gets into moderate, I will get quite triggered from this past lifetime trauma. And the one thing, and I have so many different healing modalities in my toolkit, but in that particular situation, the thing that helps me is EFT. And I used
Yeah.
to be like, oh, and usually when there's turbulence, you can't get up. Usually they don't want you to get out of your seat. And I used to like see, oh, is there a flight attendant looking? And I would sneak into the bathroom to do EFT because you're physically tapping on your physical body. Because I thought, oh, people will see it and think it's weird. Now I don't care.
It's the same with me.
Yeah, now I just don't care. And my daughter will be like, Mama, are you tapping again? And I'm like, Yep, I sure am. And we've talked about this too, Micah, how it is can be really great with children. I mean, like, sometimes your kids are like, yeah, don't tap on me. But then sometimes, like, they will be like really open to it. And my daughter runs in and out of being wanting it and not wanting it because she will resist anything I bring to her. But like I have tapped on her and it has worked, so she knows it works. So when
Yes.
she's in a moment of receiving and being
Mhm.
willing to receive what I'm offering her, she'll say, "Mama, will you do tapping on me?" And that's always like such an amazing moment when that happens. It's like, yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Yes, yeah, it's the same with my son. He's now, we talked about that. He's a bit older, so he's 40 now, so he's not really very much. But he remembers that it helped. And I have to say, when I started, I did some mistakes with him because I didn't know enough of it. But still, he remembers I helped him with fears. And that's sometimes when he just comes up and asks. And I think sometimes it just helps already. And I know that in my own experience, just signing up for your program helped me already, just making a decision to look for help just helps you already. So sometimes he just comes up and then after a while he said, oh, I don't need it, because he realized he can go with it. Well, that's what I really want to do. I booked a program. I really have to go into it. And I want to go to schools and offer a program to tap with teachers or tap with the class. I haven't figured out how to do it properly, but I think it's such a great tool for kids. I would have loved to have it when my son was in primary school, because he really had problems, and I just would love to be able to give that to kids, because it's such an easy thing and it really helps. And I can really relate to you when you say it doesn't help, nothing else helps on the plane, because I remember I trying Reiki when I'm really set up. And these modalities, they require that you sort of calm down first, I think, to help. And because you're so offline, and that's why tapping is so great, because it's so easy and it's a body movement and it really lowers your cortisol. And what you can do is it's called imaginary tapping. That's what I sometimes do in bed, but I don't want to move anymore. I just imagine I tap on the points. And that helps already as well. If you really like, you don't really want to do all the tapping. But I just do the same. Sometimes I go, across the street and I just do, I don't care. I'm old enough. I don't care anymore what people think.
I totally agree with this. I love, and I don't talk about this enough. I'm so glad you said it. Sometimes you're in the stress. And when you're in, most healing modalities are most effective when you're in a calm, a neutral state or higher. They just are. Even Soul
Mhm.
Blueprint, I can tell you, you will get the biggest release in the Soul Blueprint healing when you're in a neutral state. Now, you can absolutely be in a stress state and use Soul Blueprint, but sometimes you need that thing that's going to get you to neutral.
Mhm.
If you have a fear of turbulence and the plane is a shaking, you can't just force yourself into neutral. You need something. And for me, I've found tapping to be absolutely the most
Mhm.
effective. And I love the physicality of it. And I do the exact same thing also with sleeping. So for folks out
Mhm.
there who are sometimes have a trouble sleeping, you can absolutely do imaginary tapping. You can do physical tapping too, if like before you like snuggle in for the night. But then when you're lying there and you're just trying to close your mind down, if your mind's racing, anxieties, worries, stresses, you can just imagine that you're tapping. And those points will be dinging because you've put your intention on it. It's the same as if you put your finger on it. You're stimulating the meridians. And that's
Yeah.
what gets the energy flowing. And that's what releases the stress or the worry or whatever and gets your cortisol levels back down to neutral so you can indeed drift off to sleep.
Yes, yeah, it's really great. And what I love too is with all the spiritual way. I just like to be still normal. You know what I mean? I have a normal life.
Yeah.
I'm a human person, and I just like all, I've got all the and I talk to people. I love to talk to people, you know, with no restriction about what I think in the spiritual world. But I just do it to certain people. I don't want to convince people that's the way to live, and I don't really like that. So this is another thing I'm looking forward to in your program, because you connect to people who are alike and you just can talk like you want. But I'm not just going to around in my normal life tell everything this is the way to live. So this is what I like with EFT as well, because you don't really have to put all the spiritual background out. You just let them do it and they notice it helps, and that's great. So I think you can reach more people. And this is what I like also, to have it in a more neutral environment to sell it. And if people want to go into it, fine, I'm open to it, of course, and I'm happy to do. But if not, you can do it on a different level and still help the people. And I think that's really nice as well.
100%. And the thing I'll also say about EFT is how, it's like you say, not everybody's wanting or ready for the spirituality. However, everybody wants to feel better.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to feel better. And what I love about EFT is it typically, not 100% of the time, like any modality is not 100%, but very often you feel better
Yes.
immediately. And it really also works with physical pain. I don't get
Mhm.
headaches that often, but when I do, I just do EFT. And maybe
Yes.
the headache doesn't go away completely, but I guarantee you I feel it less strong. My husband's a runner and he uses running to balance and manage his stress. And when he is injured and not running, let me tell you, the whole household can feel that his stress is not as well managed as normal. And so he was once struggling with really bad plantar fasciitis, if I say that right, which those of you who know about it or have had it, it's very, very painful and you can barely walk. So he was in all of this pain on his heel, and I did EFT on him, and it literally it was gone overnight. Sometimes with EFT you can get this like miraculous like kind of like gone overnight. It's not
Yeah.
100%, but it can happen. And so
Yeah.
now ever since then my husband, if whenever he doesn't think to do it, like if he's stressed, he won't start tapping on himself. But if I suggest it to him, Micah,
Yeah.
he will always say yes. Like, oh, you're
Okay.
stressed. Oh, you have this physical pain. Shall I do some tapping on you? He will always say yes.
Yes. Oh, great. Oh, that's what I love too. I'm not too much into it with my family, but this is exactly the experience. People don't have to get into it. They just notice it helps. And I think it helps. That's always the thing, it doesn't always help with me. Sometimes you just need someone else who's doing it with you. So with all
100%.
modalities you've got, it's just like something, because you have got your spots, your dark spots where you don't look at it and so you can't get around it, even if you're really advanced or have done it a lot. But it's really a spectrum of EFT. I mean, you basically can at least try to lower it with EFT. Everything like fears, pains, limiting beliefs, it's just such a wide range you can deal with it. And this, I think, is really great. I really like it. I really
Yes, I
like
do
to
too.
get into it. And I think what I really love first is like the answers come up, because I'm not a coach. I'm just leading them to go into their own energy system and feel their own subconscious things that needs to arise, and they get their answers from their own body or from their own system. And I had once with my son, and he didn't want to go to school. I can't remember really, and then he just suddenly said a sentence like, I'm afraid this and this will happen. And we were both looking at each other like, where did that come from? But this was the point. We would have never ever gotten to it if you wouldn't have tapped, because it was so deep down. It was so sort of, not really strange, but it was a bit abstract. And then we were looking, and it was gone. He never had in this part any fears or problems going to school. And that was really a great discovery as well. So, and what I do now at the moment is, because I work with your modality of feeling the fields and going into it, and I'm not too good in it to now. I'm sure I will improve. So I do
Oh,
it for the
you'll be
next.
amazing. In
Yeah.
6 months' time, you're going to be
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And so I do a combination sometimes, I start tapping and then I notice it comes up and then I breathe and feel the field. So this is quite funny as well, because you said it in the beginning, you don't do it anymore. And I thought, well, if I could work like you and people accept it, of course you don't need EFT, because that it's such a faster way of dealing with it. But sometimes people probably need the slow process and the thoughts about it, and to give the head something to do as well. So this is why I like this combination. Yeah.
I totally agree. And I love how you're explaining this. And I do want to just take a sec to talk about the power of Soul Blueprint. I always say Soul Blueprint has three purposes. The first and
Mm-hmm.
foremost, like really first and foremost on top of the page, is about you and your journey with yourself. So you're
Yeah.
first, you are your number one client to begin with. And the
You're the
Soul
healer.
Blueprint, yeah, the Soul Blueprint journey starts with your own relationship to your spiritual gifts and your connection to the divine. And wherever you are, people who arrive to me naturally and feel drawn to me are very intuitive people, even if they don't recognize that within themselves. And they're usually much, much more intuitive, and their spiritual gifts are much more powerful than they realize. And Soul Blueprint meets you where you are, wherever that is, and then takes it all to this next level of amplification. So that's the first thing, you as your
Mm-hmm.
number one client. The second thing is Soul Blueprint as a standalone methodology. You know, if you have a client who you just recognize has a big emotion and they just want to allow it to pass through, you can go through, you know, the feel the feels process with a client. And Soul Blueprint teaches you exactly how to do that and how to read the client and when to take it a certain way or another way. And then lastly, and I think this is what is really interesting, Micah, is it brings together the modalities you already have. For example, EFT. So when you're in a session doing EFT, Soul Blueprint just melds beautifully in how you can serve a client, using your intuition to really pull out what's really going on. If the client is saying one thing, but you're intuiting that maybe there's something else that she just doesn't realize, that you can start asking about that and scratching that surface to see what is there. And it just brings together all the things that you're already knowing and doing, and it helps you package it to your own thing. You know, what's Micah's thing? Micah's thing is more than Soul Blueprint, and it's more than EFT. It's it brings these modalities together, but it's got her signature stamp on it. And that's what makes it so powerful. It helps you to create your stamp, your signature, your methodology, however you call it. And you don't have to say, oh, this is, you know, Micah's special methodology, or maybe you do want to kind of birth your own thing. But so if you want to do that, yes, it will support you in that. But if you just, it's just more about like how you show up in a client session, that signature you. And Soul Blueprint really just helps you amplify, excuse me, amplify that signature.
Oh, I get goosebumps hearing it. Yeah, but this is just, yeah, you summed it up. This is really what I want. It's like healing, like we talked about that before, the upper limit, because this is holding me back to go really out. And we were talking about the book, The Big Leap, and I just realized it's just like there's a lid on everything, on my relationship, on, you know, on how my kid, uh, you know, shines basically or not shine, you know. And and I'm and I, of course, first of all, I want to have a more healed environment, like be more healed, being able to heal my family in the points they need to, yeah, to go into a higher, you know, live their highest potential as well, because that, of course, makes you happy. And then, of course, you know, living this dream of being a really good practitioner in what, or coach or whatever you want to go, or however it develops. But first of all, at the moment, I'm really like want to go into this EFT and really provide a brilliant help to my clients. And this is just, yeah. This is just everything you just said. I'm sure it will work out in that way, and I'm sure I will receive it, and I'm sure I will amplify everything, and I'm really looking forward to it. And just, you know, just someone in one of your live classes said it. It's just being in your energy makes such a difference. I can notice it within this call already because I just find my words easier and how to describe it. And it's really amazing, I have to say.
Well, thank you so much. And one of my big passions in life is being the mentor. If you look at my human design chart, I have mentorship all over my chart, and that's just what I'm here to do. And I'm here also to create intimate environments. I don't work well. I mean, I think I can. I'm sure I could give a TED talk to 5,000 people and do well. I
Mhm.
think though that my real genius lies in attracting amazing light workers like you, who we're just an energetic fit. I just feel that immediately with you, and
Mhm.
creating really intimate environments where I can be the mentor. And that's what
Yeah.
Soul Blueprint is. And you can ask any, this next cohort coming up is my sixth cohort, I think. And you could really ask any Soul Blueprint alum, and they will tell you Allison mentors in a very one on
Mm.
one feeling way, even though it's a group. And she creates a very safe, intimate environment where you can share whatever is happening. You can wave your woo flag, whatever, like I had this really weird thing happen. Nothing is weird. Nothing is weird or it's all weird in Soul Blueprint. There's like no norm judgment. It's truth. It's sharing our truth. I had this experience. I had this thing. My spirit guide said this thing to me. It's just sharing truth, but in a place where it's safe to share. And that's what I strive for inside the program.
Yes, I can feel that already. And well, I said it when you asked me, and I said, well, I don't really have the money for it. And I remember having like some classes just sort of tempted me, and it was always like, well, it's a lot of money. And I think they might be the same amount, but or most of the time less. And even then I thought, oh, it's a lot of money. And this time I just slept over it and I said, it just has to work out. I just have to get it somehow. and and it did. So, and I think this is amazing thing because we all have money issues and money mindsets. And whenever it's just for me, and you said it, you received my money with love when I paid, and it was just energy basically passing on and going back and forth and coming back in another way. And this is such a healing way to as well for my money mindset. This is already, there's already happening so much. And yeah, I'm just really happy.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you mentioned that because there are a lot of people who want to join, but the money thing is the thing that holds them back. And what I always say to them is let your higher self guide. I mean, I am really, if your higher self is saying no, do not join. I will never
Mhm.
argue with that ever. And I don't want people to join who's getting a higher self no. It's not
Mhm.
going to be good for me, it's not going to be good for the group, and it's not going to be good for the client. So nobody wins. But if your higher self is saying yes, and you have nerves about finances or nerves about your partner supporting or nerves about whatever, nerves are part of it. You're
Mhm.
stepping up and saying, I'm going to do this big thing. So of course there's going to be nerves because you're stretching and you're growing, and it's actually a good sign that you're a
Mhm.
little like, oh, I don't know. That's good. It's growth. But if your higher self is saying yes, this is just something you need on a soul level. And ultimately, like I said, the number one role of Soul Blueprint is about you and your own spiritual path. And yes, it's going to get you more clients. It's going to get you income. It's going to get you a lot of your
You
dreams
started
fulfilled. Yeah,
in the
exactly. It's
first
already
place.
started, Micah says. Yes. And ultimately, that's amazing, but that's the secondary thing. The primary thing is just about you. It's really an investment in you.
Yes, I would say so. And I just would love to add it because I think it fits. I think part of my money mindset is the way my father dealt with money, and like we all do. And my parents were divorced, and my mom said, I can't go to your father because he would deny it flat. So you have to do it. And so we had like all these situations when I visited him and I didn't dare to ask him in the last moment. And then he just really throw a tantrum, and it was always awful. So, and then, when I was older, I said, I'm never ever going to ask him for money again. I'm just not going to do it. And he just recently like last year, gave me some money already, and just out of the blue. And I got really excited to talk about it. And so I said, I was figuring it out, and I was considering asking him, if he could help me to pay the course and all these things. And then I said, no, I want to have it on my own. And then like last week, I said that I did that. I, scrubbed everything together. I have nothing on my bank account anymore. It was a really nice feeling to have a bit of a savings, for a long time. I never had that. And due to him, I could put, save up some money. And now it's all gone again. But I could do it in a way like, you can give me whatever you want. That put me in a good position. I was not begging, I was not asking, but of course I would be grateful if, I get some money back, basically. And he's just been very generous, and it had been really, like, the whole thing had been such a healing effect. You know what I mean? Just, going through this, asking him, feeling how it feels right. And I think this already helped me so much, and had so much, as I said, healing within this whole process. So it actually was a really good thing. The amount of money was already a very good thing for me to work on my money mindset and heal past wounds. So I think that was already very great.
That is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, Micah. When you and I get together, I feel like we could just talk and talk and talk and talk. I want to launch into a story I have such a similar story with my own father, but higher self is saying, save it for another episode, Allison. All right. But I do have a similar story that I'm dying to tell, but I'll save it for another episode. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. Now, I know that we have listeners out there that are now all eager to learn more about EFT, and I hope so, because I give it my highest endorsement. Do you have an Instagram handle or something if someone wanted to get in touch with you, or an email address?
I do have an email address. I've got a website, and there are all the contact informations on there. I haven't got an Instagram yet because I just have to figure out. I'm not very, it's what you said, I think, yesterday in your live class. Social media is, I think it just really distracts you from your real life. And so it's like, there are good things on it. So I think it's an ambivalent situation with the social media. So, but I hope to get around a bit and do the things I can feel least yucky.
Yeah, that's it. Least yucky. Because EFT and video is such a powerful combination. So like a YouTube or something could be just planting a seed in your garden of intentions, because you are really great on video, by the way.
Thank you. But my website is start, and if people are interested, it's just Heitmann.de for Germany.
Okay.
It's just
Heitmann.de.
Yeah, in Perfect. One word. And it's probably not easy for anybody who's not German to remember.
Or Dutch. The Dutch can get it.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is, I haven't put it on my website. It's all in German, though. I want to translate it at some point. But of course, I would offer any sessions in English. I did my training within an American program, and I did all the training sessions with American people.
Well, listen, we will link those in the show notes. If you're curious about EFT, check Meike out. And I guess, again, can't thank you enough. And I'm so excited for the journey we're about to embark on. And I'm really, really grateful for you.
Me too. I'm really grateful for having you in my life now. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you. And I want to thank you so much, dear listener, for tuning in each and every week. My invitation for you this week is to take some deep belly breaths, sink into the body, connect to the heart, and ask your higher self, are you calling me to a spiritual mentor on my path? And if you get a yes, ask your higher self, is Allison meant to be my mentor? If you get a yes, I really invite you to check out Soul Blueprint. Above all else, Soul Blueprint is a mentorship program where I am going to mentor you to take your spiritual gifts to an amplified, elevated state. If you feel energetically connected to me, I really feel called and I would love to be your mentor. So check out Soul Blueprint at AllisonScammell.com/Soul Blueprint. There you can find a link to book a call with me. Let's chat. And I'll tell you why now is the time to be working with the right mentor and how I can help you build a business that is all about getting people results. And it's in getting those results that become your most powerful marketing word of mouth tool to get that buzz going so you don't have to worry about AI algorithms and the latest in social media algorithms and the latest AI. I don't even know. So if you want to just get down to what you feel called to do, which is serving the people you feel called to serve, and you want the results and transformation to speak for itself, then join me inside of Soul Blueprint. That's a wrap for this week. And as always, until next time, may your soul guide the way.